Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, The Appearance of Sukadev Goswami. Text 14. Tasyeva me agasya paravareshvaro vyasakta chittasya grihe svabhikshanam nirveda mulo dvijashapa rupo yatra prasakto bayamashu datte. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the controller of both the transcendental and mundane worlds, has graciously overtaken me in the form of a Brahmana's curse. Due to my being too much attached to family life, the Lord, in order to save me, has appeared before me in such a way that only out of fear I will detach myself from the world. Maharaj Parikshit, although born in a family of great devotees, the Pandavas, and although securely trained in transcendental attachment for the association of the Lord, still found the allurement of mundane family life is so strong that he had to be detached by a plan of the Lord. Such direct action is taken by the Lord in the case of a special devotee. Maharaj Parikshit could understand this by the presence of the topmost transcendentalists in the universe. The Lord resides with his devotees, and therefore the presence of great saints indicated the presence of the Lord. The king therefore welcomed the presence of the great rishis as a mark of favor of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. So we have seen from the previous verses that when Maharaj Parikshit was hungry and thirsty in the forest, he went to the hermitage of sage Shamika Rishi in order to quench his thirst, but he was not offered even water. So, out of anger, he took a lifeless snake and put it on the shoulder of the sage who was meditating. When this incident was heard by the son of a Brahmana, Shringi, the Brahmana boy, out of anger, being insulting his father, he cursed the king that he would die in 7 days by a snake bite. Is it not? So far we have seen this much. And we have also seen this curse is for two reasons. This curse is for two reasons. Can anybody guess? We have been hearing many verses. Can anybody guess what are the two reasons that he has got this curse? Sorry? Okay, very good. Okay. Very good, very good. Yeah. So there are two reasons. One is, as you rightly said, it is by the will of the Lord. The incident has occurred by the will of the Lord. And the second reason is, in order to disseminate the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is because of this incident, we're all sitting here and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So, this is a glorious incident, what has happened. When we say it is the will of the Lord, what does this mean? It is said in today's verse, the Lord has appeared in the form of Dvijashapa Rupa. He has appeared in the form of Dvija Shapa Rupa, has appeared as a Brahmana boy. Dvija, twice born, has appeared as a Brahmana boy and cursed the king. And the king was feeling that it is due to Vyasakta Chittasya. It is due to overly attached to family life. It is due to overly attached to family life. He had a great kingdom and is also the king of the entire empire. He had good family. All the opulence was with him. But and over and above that, he was also a great devotee of the Lord. He was always remembering the Lord. He was always remembering the Lord. But the mental energy is so strong that it can allure us. It can allure us. And so, the Lord being very kind, it is said here, the Lord is Paravareshwaraha, who is the controller of both the transcendental and mundane world. And he has appeared graciously. Parikshit is saying he has appeared graciously. Why he has appeared graciously? Because a devotee thinks the Lord might have appeared for a higher purpose, for a higher arrangement, for a higher cause. There must be some lesson that we can learn from this incident. This is how a devotee perceives when such reversals happen in life. So, the Lord appeared in the form of a Brahmana boy and cursed the king Parikshit in order to save him from the deep attachment to family life. From the deep attachment to family life. And it is further said here that out of fear, Bhayam Ashu Datte, out of fear, I may detach from all attachments. Just like we see children, when they all come together, they want to play. They are very much attached to play. They want to play whole day. They want to play various games. Is it not we come across the children want to play? But the parents are very much worried. What will happen to their future? What will happen to the children? Is it not? So in order to bring the children under control, the father would say sometimes to the child, my dear child, if you don't go to the school, the teacher would come to the house with big stick and beat you. And the children would fear. They would become scared. Is it not? And next day, when the school bell rings, the children are ready to the school. So, this fear breaks the attachment. Fear breaks the attachment. So, the Lord has created such a situation in the life of devotees so that we can purify ourselves. We can quickly purify ourselves and go back to Him. What is the root problem of this verse? What is the root problem of this verse? The root problem of this verse is the attachment. And where is the attachment? The attachment is in the mind. When we are too much attached, there is also fear. Just like Arjuna, when he was in the midst of the battlefield, he was with the army. He saw his grandfather Bhishma. He saw his teacher Dronacharya, his brother Duryodhan. He saw his family members. And he was bewildered. My dear Krishna, why should I fight with my own family members? Why should I kill them? What will happen to their family? What will happen to their wife? They will all become widows. Unwanted population will prevail in the family. Why should I fight with them? And Bhishma, who is worthy of worship, why should I fight? He was placing all these arguments before Krishna. It is because of attachment to family. And that's why Prabhupada says in the purport, he says, excessive attachment for material things puts a man in a bewildering condition of existence. Arjuna was bewildered when he saw his own people. Bhayam dvitiya biniveshataha. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium takes place in a person who are too materially affected. So, when we are attached, in the mind, the living entity follows the dictations of the mind. Just like if we are passing on the road, when we see something very interesting, when we see something very palatable, we want to taste it. We want to experience it. It is very nice. It is pleasurable. When it gives something pleasurable, we become attached to it. In order to fulfill the desire, our bodily mechanism works in such a way to fulfill that desire. And when we fulfill the desire, we become attached. Because there is a pleasure in it. As we go on fulfilling the desire, what happens? It becomes a habit. And this habit of a person defines the character of a person. You see the consequence? Is attachment, habit, and character. So, how do we remove the attachment? How do we remove the attachment? It is only through fear and knowledge. It's only through fear and knowledge. That's why Maharaj Parikshit is thinking that it is Krishna's mercy upon me, and that's why he has come in the form of Dvijashapa Rupa. As practicing devotees, we also encounter many challenges in life, many difficult situations in life, is it not? And Prabhupada says that despite challenging situations when we are practicing devotional service, we should hold on to devotional service. We should hold on to it. We should never give up. This is the only criteria. Whatever circumstances we are in, whatever challenges we are facing in, whatever difficulties that we come across, we should hold on to devotional service. And Prabhupada says, these challenges will be vanquished within a moment. He says in one of the quote, one should continue his services despite any challenging circumstances. These challenging circumstances will be vanquished by the grace of the Lord, by the mercy of the Lord, by the power of the Lord. He says three things here. If one has faith in these three things, by the mercy of the Lord, by the grace of the Lord, and by the power of the Lord, he can overcome from all these challenges. Everything will be vanquished as we stick on to devotional service. But by the way, why are the obstacles coming? Why are the obstacles coming to us? I am with Krishna. When we are with Krishna, there should not be any problems. We may think, is it not? These obstacles come because we are attached to it. We are attached to something material. Vyasakta chittasya. So Maharaj Parikshit, who is a Rajarishi, he had everything. He had all the opulence. He is the king of the entire empire. When things are very good in our life, when things are very smooth in our life, it is difficult to become detached. We don't get detached to it because everything is very nice, everything is very smooth, going on. Is it not? We don't become detached. But if one wants to become detached, only through transcendental knowledge, one can become detached. We see from the pastime of Hiranyakashipu, who underwent severe austerities for years together. He underwent severe austerities for years together for want of material benefit. It is said, when he was performing tapasya, the whole universe was in great disturbance. There was a kind of fire was blazing over his head. The whole universe was in great disturbance, including the birds, bees, and demigods. Even great personality like Brahma, he was disturbed. What is happening? And then the Devatas said that Hiranyakashipu wanted to become immortal. He wanted to conquer death. He wanted to conquer old age. He wants to rule the entire universe. And Brahma, having heard this, he goes to see Hiranyakashipu. He sprinkles water from his kamandalu over the head of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu offers obeisances. He offers prayers in the form of lot of wishes that he had. That he should not be killed by any living entity. That he should not be killed by any animal. He should not be killed in a day or night. He should not be killed by any weapon. It goes on, the list goes on. And Brahma fulfills all those desires. He benedicted all those desires. And Hiranyakashipu conquered the entire three worlds. He conquered death. Practically, he captured the heavenly planets. He conquered the entire universe. And seeing all this, Prahlad is saying, my father, having conquered the entire universe, having conquered the entire Devatas, he became puffed up. He became proud. And Prahlad is praying to Lord Narasimhadev in his prayers. He's saying, my dear Lord, the people in general wanted to be elevated to the higher planetary system for long duration of life. They don't want to die. They wanted long duration of life. They wanted opulence. They wanted wealth. They wanted to be influential. They wanted to control the universe. Prahlad is saying three things here. The people wanted long duration of life, ayuhu. They wanted opulence, they wanted wealth to enjoy, shriyaha. They wanted vibhava, they wanted to become influential, they wanted to control things. And that's why they wanted to be elevated to the heavenly planets. But my dear Lord, I have seen all these activities through my father. He had a long duration of life. No one can kill him within these three worlds. Practically, he had become immortal. Ayuhu. He had become opulent by capturing the heavenly planets. Shriyaha. And is very influential. So much so that just by his glance, just by Hiranyakashipu's glance, the devatas would become fearful. They would shiver. They would flee away. And Prahlad is saying, I have seen all these things through my father. Yet, my father is so powerful, who was so opulent, who was so influential, he has been vanquished by you within a moment. Within a moment, he has been vanquished. Just within a moment of his longevity, his opulence, his influence, everything was finished. And that's why Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Adyantavanta Kaunteya. Anything material in this world as a beginning and as a end. Adyantavanta Kaunteya. And Prabhupada is writing in the purport, he says, Prahlad used the word called drishta. He has practically seen and experienced the nature of this material world. He says that, he gives an example how a great politicians like Napoleon, Hitler, Subhash Chandra Bose, Gandhi, as soon as their lives were finished, their popularity, their influence, everything was finished. You see? So, Prahlad has got all these experiences and is praying to the Lord, my dear Lord, please do not grant me any material benefits. I do not want anything of such. Just give me the association of pure devotees. Please grant me this benediction. So, one should gain experience from the experience of Prahlad Maharaj. What is the nature of this world? We should gain experience from Prahlad Maharaj. This is called first class experience. The most important way of experiencing about this world is through hearing. This is called first class hearing. And second class is just by seeing. And third class is, even after seeing and hearing, we will not learn. It's like Prabhupada gives an example of a thief. When he hears that, if one steals, he'll be punished by the police. He'll be put behind bars. He'll be punished. The moment one hears this, he'll abstain from stealing. This is called first class. And second class person is he, after seeing and experiencing, he will learn that stealing is not correct. This is called second class experience. And third class person is he, even after hearing and seeing, he will not learn. So one has to learn, or one has to gain experience like Prahlad Maharaj. And Prabhupada says, every intelligent man, just by studying Srimad Bhagavatam, one can get the experience like that of Prahlad Maharaj through this incident mentioned in this great literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. By following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, one can gain thorough experience that all material opulence in this world is perishable at any moment. So anything material is perishable. Adyantavanta kaunteya. It has a beginning and end. So having understood that anything material in this world is perishable, how can we remain detached from such things? How can we remain detached? This we shall try to understand from a pure devotee, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a detached personified. He is not only detached personified, he is also teaching the world how to be detached. In spiritual life, unless we are detached to material things, we cannot move forward. We cannot move forward. Just like Prabhupada gives an example of a married family who is rowing the boat whole night. And if the boat is not removed from the anchor, the boat will not move. Is it not? If the boat is not removed from the anchor, the boat will not move. How much ever you want to move, it will not move. Similarly, this material attachment is like an anchor. If we are not detached, we will not be able to progress in spiritual life. Will not be able to progress. So, this material detachment is exemplified in the character of Lord Shiva by his personal example. Material detachment means what? How do we understand this? When we have something in hand, when we consider that to be our own, we need to be detached from it. We need to renounce from it. Just like a person who is crazy. He says, look, this Bank of India, I'm going to renounce from today. When he says this, people will think he's a crazy person. This bank never belonged to him. What is there to renounce? Is it not? So which means, when we have something and when we renounce, that is detachment. Just like Lord Shiva, he had everything. He had all opulence. His wife Durga Devi, she can create palatial loka. And he is the owner of material nature. He is almost equal to Lord Vishnu. But where is he residing? He is not residing in palatial loka. No. He is residing in crematorium. And who are his people? Not great personalities, great sages who are worshipping him. No. He is surrounded with ghosts and pisachas. And what is he doing with them? He is preaching Krishna conscious. Because he is on the mission of the Lord. He is on the mission of the Lord. And that's why he is called as Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. His compassion towards the living entities. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jive Doya. The pure devotees are compassionate towards living entities. This is the greatness of pure devotees. They want to destroy avidya among the people. We all know that Lord Krishna, who is in charge of people who are in Sattva Guna, Lord Brahma, who is in charge of people who are in Rajoguna, and Lord Shiva, who is in charge of people who are in Tamaguna, who are most sinful, who are most downtrodden. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, who can worship him? Who can worship Lord Krishna? Can anybody guess? It's a very famous shloka. Who can worship Lord Krishna? Sorry? Okay. Good try. No. Esham tu antagata papam. Antagata papam. One who is freed from sinful actions. Bhajante mam. Can worship me. So, Lord Shiva, he has taken charge of people who are most downtrodden, most sinful. And Lord Shiva, being very kind upon living entities, being compassionate upon living entities, he says to Lord Krishna, my dear Krishna, I shall take charge of people who are neglected by you, who are rejected by you. You see? The kind of sacrifice, the kind of, tapasya, the pure devotees undertake. Otherwise, there is no hope for such people. There is no hope. It is because of pure devotees' compassion. And that's why he is called as Bhutanatha. This word Bhuta has two meanings. One is called ghostly character, and another is dull-headed. He is also called as Mahadeva. He is the greatest among the demigods. He is the greatest of all the demigods. Although he is associating with Durga Devi, as she is the owner of material nature, he is above the modes of reactionary stages of three modes of material nature. He is above the three modes. The modes cannot touch him. The modes cannot bind him, cannot touch him. So, Lord Shiva, who has everything, who had all the opulence, he just detached from all these material things and is on the mission of the Lord, showing kindness, compassion upon the most downtrodden living entities. This is the most exalted position of Lord Shiva, and teaching detachment to this world. So coming back to Parikshit's situation, where it says, the Lord has graciously appeared before him in order to detach from family life and to prepare him to receive the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam and take him back to Godhead. So, as sadhakas, when we are practicing Krishna conscious, we also fall trap to material attachment. Right? We also fall trap to material attachment. We also encounter various challenges. How do we handle such situations? How do we counter such situations? It is said, we must submit ourselves to the spiritual master and Lord Krishna in such circumstances. Just as Parikshit is surrendering himself to Lord who has appeared before him. We must place ourselves in the hands of the spiritual master and Lord Krishna, so that the Lord takes care of us. The Lord protects us. As Krishna is promising in the Bhagavad Gita, Ma Suchaha, do not fear. When we say placing ourselves in the hands of the spiritual master and the Lord means what? How do we place ourselves? What do we do? The instructions given by the spiritual master or the pure devotees act like a powerful sword. These words act like a powerful sword which can cut off all the attachments. Just like Bilumangal Thakur, he was so much attached to prostitute. And this, when the prostitute became the spiritual master, when she spoke powerful words, Bilumangal Thakur immediately gave up all the attachments. Immediately gave up all the attachment and left her. So when we hear the words of the pure devotee, or when we read his books, these powerful instructions can get rid of all the attachments. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is very famous incident where Mahatma Vidura instructing Dhritarashtra. Even after losing battlefield, Dhritarashtra was still attached to material opulence. He was attached to family life. He was simply living at the expense of the Pandavas, whom he tried to kill from the childhood. He was so envious of the Pandavas. But still, after losing battlefield, is still living with them. And Mahatma Vidura, he preaches to Dhritarashtra. He speaks powerful words. He says, even after losing battlefield, you were living like a household dog. You see? Even at the risk of humiliation. He lost battle. He was so envious. He tried to kill them. But he shamelessly still living with them at the cost of the Pandavas. You see? And he says, and you are eating the remnants given by Bhima. When Dhritarashtra heard these powerful words of Vidura, he was awakened. He was shaken with these powerful words. And one day, without informing anyone, he left the palace. He left all the strong attachments to material life. He left the palace without informing anyone. So this is the impact of pure devotees. This is the impact of the instructions of pure devotees. So when we hear Srila Prabhupada lectures, or when we read his instructions, or when we read his books, these powerful words enter our heart, which is like a stone. Our heart is like a stone. It melts. It softens and all the attachments will be relieved. Now, how do we apply this? Just like when Bilamangal Thakur heard, he immediately acted. When Dhritarashtra heard, he immediately acted. So how do we do? What is our practical application? We need to endeavor. We need to put our endeavor. Unless we put our endeavor, we will not be able to detach from material attachments. We will not be able to detach. Endeavor means what? We have to struggle in spiritual life. We have to struggle in spiritual life. Unless we struggle in spiritual life, we will not be able to progress. Just like Hiranyakashipu underwent severe austerities. Not just one day, 2 days, for years together, standing on one leg. Just imagine if I call someone and say, you please stand on one leg for 1 or 2 minutes. It is very difficult, is it not? But he underwent great struggle. For years together, standing on one leg, just for want of material benefit, which can be vanquished in no time. And Prahlad is saying, no, my dear Lord, I do not want anything of such. So, struggle is there. Either we struggle materially. Materially struggle means what? Prabhupada says 4 things. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Or struggle for spiritual life. Struggle to get up early in the morning. Struggle to chant and hear the holy names attentively. Struggle to pull our mind to hear the holy name. Struggle to avoid 10 offenses. Struggle to become Vaishnava. Struggle to become Krishna conscious. Struggle to remember Krishna. Struggle to remember his activities. Let us struggle to become Krishna conscious. We have to take all risk to serve the Guru and Krishna. We have to take all risks to serve them, to serve their mission. Because we are indebted to them. We are indebted to them. We cannot repay, but we can try. We can try to serve them by taking all risk. Once in the year 1970, the city of Calcutta was on fire. There was a turmoil. There was political unrest. A group of Naxalites captured the entire city. What is their mission? Their mission is to drive away religion from Bengal. They want to drive away religion from Bengal and replace it with their own ideology, communism. And when the disciples of Srila Prabhupada were in Calcutta, they arranged 10 days Pandal program for Prabhupada. And thousands of crowd were gathered in this great, very big Pandal program. And Prabhupada arrived. And these Naxalites also arrived. They entered the Pandal program. They were so angry. They were so ferocious. When they saw the crowd folding their hands and offering prayers in faith, they all became agitated. And they ignited fire again on the city, threatening the crowd, threatening Srila Prabhupada. Practically, Srila Prabhupada became their enemy. There was so much unrest. And one night, Srila Prabhupada received a note. It's not a note, it's a warning. A strong warning. In other words, a death sentence. Prabhupada received death sentence. And this note had just 3 words. It had only 3 words. What is that? Fly or die. Fly or die. Even police were helpless. Even police were helpless. Maharaj, we cannot protect you. There is so much of fear across the city. There is so much of fire across the city. We cannot protect you. And Prabhupada was fearless. He was fearless. And he said, if they kill me while I'm preaching about Krishna, what better way is there for a Vaishnava to leave this world while preaching? It is a great moment. One evening, as Srila Prabhupada sat on the stage, these Naxalites again entered the program. Again, this time they were so fiery. Their eyes were red in rage. And one of them shouted, "Why are these people sitting in the front?" And they were referring to the politicians. Why are these people sitting in the front? Before the matter gets escalated, one of the devotee goes to them and invites them, "Please come onto the stage and join us Sankirtan." And one of the Naxalites said, "I have come for violence, not for invitation." And they were restless. They became so furious, in just few moments, they banged the wooden chairs. They shouted the slogans. They threatened to burn the Pandal program. The whole atmosphere was chaos. They were anxious among the crowd. The people were started leaving. The whole atmosphere was in dangerous situation. There was so much of chaos. And Prabhupada was in silent, was calm. He closed his eyes and he sang, "Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu shurabhirabhipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra satasambhrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami." As he sang, his voice rang the entire Pandal. He was strong. He was fearless when he sang with unwavering faith. Suddenly, the noise faded. The tension melted. The chaos disappeared. The whole atmosphere shifted from fear to peace. And this is not the end. This is not the end. And Prabhupada continued to receive the note, "Fly or die." And this time, Prabhupada did something unbelievable. He did something unbelievable. He said to his disciples, call all the Naxalites. Call them. I want to meet them. And the disciples were horrified. Prabhupada, it is so dangerous. They're so violent. They will not listen to you. Prabhupada was insisting. Please bring them. And behind the Pandal program, there was one small room. All these Naxalites were brought there and they were facing Prabhupada. And they were so furious. They were shouting, yelling, screaming. They were speaking so many bad words. And Prabhupada was calm. He was silent. He did not speak anything. And then, when Prabhupada started speaking, he did not speak about Hinduism. He spoke about communism. Not the communism of violence and bloodshed. No. He spoke about Vedic communism. He said to them, in Krishna consciousness, there is no exploitation. Everything belongs to Krishna. In spiritual society, all food, all wealth, all happiness is meant to be shared equally. Just as a father provides to all his children. When he spoke, something changed. Their anger disappeared. Their expressions softened. And by the end of the conversation, they agreed. They just not agreed. They promised that the program would continue without any more threats. See how Prabhupada transformed them. He won over them practically. Not by violence, not by power, but with unwavering faith and compassion. So, the pure devotees take all risk to please the spiritual master, to preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They take all risk. And to conclude, Prabhupada writes in one of the letters to his disciple that how a disciple should be determined to preach the message of God by taking all risk. By taking all risk. He says, just seize this wonderful opportunity we have got for preaching. Just seize this opportunity. This is a sign of first-class devotee. That he is willing to sacrifice everything to please Krishna by preaching his glories, even under all sorts of difficult conditions. He takes all risk. I am very much encouraged by your sincere Krishna consciousness. In this way, you go on perfecting your life more and more, and very soon, I promise you, you will go back home, back to God. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.